Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think we're going to get started. It's just about 2 o'clock, so we'd like to keep things moving. We very much appreciate you coming out today. We know there's a lot of things to see and do here at World Dairy Expo, so thank you for taking the time and coming to this virtual tour. My name is Sarah Harbaugh. I am a territory business manager with Zoetis, and I work in the north central part of Wisconsin. So we're happy to be bringing this to you today, and we're excited to be sponsoring this farm tour. This is a picture of Sugar Creek Farms. They are going to be hosting this tour today, so this is just a picture of the front of the facilities for all of you to see. And you'll be hearing from the farm owners later today. Here's a picture of Mike Bruette, who is the working manager at the farm, working with the cows and the day-to-day operations, managing things on the farm. The other partner or owner at the farm is Jeff Honschke, and Jeff's main responsibility is the cropping work as well as the financial part of the farm. And he, as you might imagine, is at home taking care of that today as they're pretty busy with harvesting crops and corn silage work. So he will not be here today. And the final person you'll be hearing from today is Dr. Paul Meager, and he is the herd veterinarian that has been working with the farm through all stages of their expansion for quite some time, so he'll offer his insights as well in working with the operation and the things that they have done. And this, the way we're going to work this tour, just so you kind of understand, we put together a video of the farm. So this is about a 20-minute presentation that will take you through all parts of the dairy operation. You'll see the farm in motion and see what they do every day on a day-to-day basis. And when the video is done, we'll have Mike and Paul come up here and ask questions, and so you can learn more about their operations. So again, we hope you enjoy the video. Thank you again for coming today, and we'll have time for question and answers when the video is finished.
My name is Mike Bruette. I'm a partner in Sugar Creek Farm. My main job is taking care of the milking herd, employees, probably the overall day-to-day operations of the farm. I was raised on a dairy farm. When I graduated from high school, I was the youngest of 5 boys. And all the rest of my brothers moved on to other things, so I was the last one. I took over the family farm. I got to know Jeff in high school. We went to high school together. We're in FFA. We were both FFA officers, and we had the same business consultant, and he knew we were both looking at doing something different, either upgrading our existing facilities or starting something new. So he got us talking, and we put our equity together and started this farm.
I was born and raised on a farm about 5 miles from here. Probably started milking cows before and after school when I was 14 years old. I had an older brother that decided to leave the farm at that time and just kind of stepped in and took over from there. Eventually my parents, I worked out an agreement with them to purchase the farm. Fully owned the farm probably by the time I was 35 years old. I had it paid off and stuff. And about that same time we actually started the idea of forming Sugar Creek Farm here.
We started in September of 1997, milking about 320 cows. In 1999 we added on to both ends of the barn and brought cow numbers to about 500. And then in 2001, we added a second barn, which brought cow numbers to around 800. In 2008, we built a new parlor, new special needs barn, and added on to another barn, which brought cow numbers to about 1225, where we're at today.
We had currently cropped 1,900 acres here. We're at about 350 acres of alfalfa, 1,200 acres of corn, 200 acres of beans. We had 80 acres of wheat this year. We put the beans and the wheat into the rotation this year because we had a really fantastic corn crop the last 2 years, and we kind of built inventory. So we do double crop some rye. We'll fall seed some rye and harvest that for forage in the spring. We mix a BMR and a conventional corn silage for our corn silage here. Started that last year. It's really been working well this year. So We do all of our tillage here. We hire our planting custom done. We have one operator that actually does all our manure hauling and all of our planting and all of our harvesting. So that kind of works out well with just having less people to work with, less companies and stuff. Saves a lot of time.
We have about 17 employees on the farm, 17 full-time employees on the farm. We have probably 2 part-time people that help during the summer with field work, but otherwise on the dairy it's all full-time people. We have 3 separate freestall barns. 2 of them for the milking herd are 6-row barns. They're divided up. One barn is first lactation animals and the other barn is second and greater. The third barn is a special needs barn for close-up dry cows and springing heifers. Each one of the milking barns, there's about 550 cows in each barn. The stocking density is about 125% cows to free stalls in that barn. And the special needs barn is probably 90% stocking density. Currently we are milking about 1,125 cows, 125 dry cows for a total of 1,250. Current production, we're about 28,500 rolling herd average, just a little under 1,000 pounds butter fat. When we first started this farm, we were probably in the 70 to 75 pound range. We've done a lot of upgrading since then. We've added sprinklers and fans, and then another row of fans, trying to improve cow comfort. We've changed the stalls a little bit, so we're continually trying to make the cows more comfortable to produce more milk. Our new parlor that we built in 2008 is a double 20 parallel parlor. We get about 4.5 turns an hour. We're milking probably 22 hours a day, shut down about 45 minutes each time, milking 3 times a day. Currently we're probably about 85 pounds of milk per cow in the tank. We don't have a lot of electronic devices in the parlor. We do have a computer program that measures unit on time, early takeoffs, and reattaches. But other than that, we don't have anything for monitoring milk production, daily milk weights in the parlor. I think the biggest thing with milk quality is if your somatic cell count is low, that means your cows are healthy. Healthy cows produce more milk. I think cow comfort is very important to healthy cows and high production. We've added sprinklers and fans, and then added more fans, and probably still not enough fans. We've used sand bedding. We used to have brisket boards. We took those out to lengthen the stalls out a little bit. They were too short. The cows really like that concrete brisket board's not in there anymore. We make sure that we keep the stalls full of sand and keep feed pushed up at all times so that when cows aren't laying down, they're eating, so that we can still get high production. Our fresh cow pens are locked up once every day. We take temperatures, monitor cows, look at their intake. Very important to get a cows off to a good start. We also monitor uterine discharge and looking for metritis. But if you get the cows off in the first 10 days to a good start, it usually leads to high production. My veterinarian has been a big part of dairy wellness. He's helped me set up the protocols and help train employees to follow them. And he also keeps retraining, helping with the retraining of employees.
I started working with Mike's father, and he had a traditional stanchion tie stall barn. And as Mike took over the dairy, Mike and I started to develop a relationship. And then in 1997, when Mike and Jeff started Sugar Creek Farm, I was their veterinarian and have been ever since. I come to the dairy every Tuesday at noon for regular scheduled herd visits, and then as necessary throughout the week. But once a week I'm here for herd checks. Part of my role here, as Mike and I see it at Sugar Creek Farm, is to provide more of the production medicine stuff, to come with some of the new ideas, to challenge Mike. Mike's always challenging me, and I try to challenge him back. And so we do we set up protocols, treatment protocols, train the people involved with treatments. We set up vaccine protocols. We'll work in the parlor for the milking, make sure that the protocol is followed, constantly coaching those people in the parlor, make sure that they do the job that Mike wants done. And we're setting up culture protocols. Sometimes I see my job as just supporting some of the other people on the dairy, some of the other team members, the AI technician, the nutritionist. I'm certainly not a nutritionist, but I try to provide him some insights, see things that he might not see if he's not here quite as often as I am, and work closely to help those guys be successful.
My nutritionist is here every 2 weeks. We walk through the cows, evaluate manure, look at the ration, see if we need to make any changes. Our ration consists of corn silage and haylage, corn gluten pellets, soy hulls, and then a mineral mix. We feed once per day. Each pen gets 2 batches, so it's kind of split up, but just one time per day. You can never spend too much money on cow comfort, I don't think. Whatever you spend on cow comfort, it'll pay you back double or triple, because comfortable cows is cows that are healthy and produce high quantities of milk.
I would say that cow comfort is one of the key things to get quality milk and to get high production and therefore high profitability. And really the health of the dairy is kind of centered around quality forages and cow comfort and to maximize dry matter intake. And so at Sugar Creek Farms we've done a couple of things. We're committed to try to make sand bedding work. Sand and manure present a challenge, but we're committed to trying to make that work. The other things that we're doing is we try to stay up to date on the stalls, so that, with brisket board, neck rail, stall width, everything. We're modifying that as needed to keep the stalls clean as we can keep them. We got sprinklers. We just put a new sprinkler system in the holding area this summer, and constantly looking for opportunities to make the cows more comfortable, because everyone on the team here is convinced that that'll lead to higher profitability, higher performance, and a win-win for everybody.
Reproduction is one of the most important areas on a dairy. You have to get cows pregnant on time to produce high quality and high quantities of milk. So it's one of the most important things that has to work right on a dairy to succeed. My reproduction program, the 2 most important people are my veterinarian and my technician. Both of them are equally important to get the results that we want. I guess my veterinarian, we probably make the decisions, the protocols we're going to use for repro. My technician's job then is to implement them, make sure that it gets done the way we want it done. Yes, I have a technician that does all the breeding on the farm. He's at the farm every day, probably for 45 minutes to an hour every day, and off-sync day he's probably here 2 or 3 hours. To get the cows bred on time and efficiently, we've implemented pre-sync 14, off-sync on our repeat cows. Our first lactation animals, we just started using double off-sync. And on our cystic cows, we've been using cedars, which has really worked well. About 2.5 years ago, I started testing with clarified for genomics. We were having too many heifers that I was losing money on because they weren't worth anything. I was looking for a way to pick out the low end of the herd instead of selling the top end. So I heard about clarified, and I thought that was a solution to the problem I had. So we started genomic testing all of our heifers. and we started selling them as soon as I had the results back. By using Clarified, I think we've increased our genetics a lot faster than we would have before. I can see the difference on the numbers coming back already, that we don't have as many low ones because we're selling those low ones at birth. So we're not raising them all the way through and spending the money and then not having a good heifer. Since we started using Clarified, we now breed our top 25% of the heifers to sex semen twice. The middle 50% get sex semen once, and the low end just get conventional semen. We also started breeding the bottom end of our herd, milking cow herd, to Angus bulls. I think Clarified, the genomic testing is more of an investment. You're not going to get any money back out of it for at least 2 years. You might save a little feed cost on the heifers that you sold, but the big benefit is going to come 2, 3, 4 years later. So you got to look at it as an investment when you start, not like it's going to be a short payback. Good heifer program and calf program is vital to your future, because that's the future of your herd. So you have to get them started off right and come into the herd ready to go. At birth, they're given a gallon of colostrum within an hour of birth, which is the most important. We also are enforcing them right at birth to get them off to a good start, get their immune system going. Our heifers leave the farm, the heifer calves, within the first week. Every week they're taken to the raiser. We've never had our own calf raising facilities, so since we started here, so we've always worked with a calf raiser. They go there till they're about 6 months old, and then we have our own heifer facility that we purchased in 2006, where we take them until they're springing heifers.
I think one of the big things that Sugar Creek Farm offers that other people in the industry might find helpful and useful is this is really a challenging and satisfying and fun place to work. Mike and Jeff have put together a very effective team that works well together, that is just looking out for the success of the farm. You know, it's back to that dairy wellness thing. You know, it's about healthy cows, healthy farm, healthy industry, and everybody's pulling in the same directions. Nothing's off limits. You know, we can all challenge each other to try to be better, and you have to kind of set your ego aside. You don't always get your way, but we're moving forward, we're having fun. It's extremely satisfying, and I would encourage anybody to try to find individuals, surround yourself with individuals who make you a little bit better and help you progress and move forward. You know, if we think it'll help the dairy, no technology is off the board, nothing's off the board. At Sugar Creek Farms, we implemented the RFID some time ago. And so Mike at herd check, or the herd manager, depending on who I'm working with on that herd check, can just walk down, they quickly assess who the cow is, and then I can take it from there. We've got a history right there in front of the cow. We're using ultrasound, so additional technology, and we find open cows. We can gather some quick information, decide how we want to pursue next to get her pregnant, or whether we decide that we don't want to get her pregnant. You know, having that information readily available helps us make better decisions instantly, so we can continue to go right along.
I think it's made our accuracy on our repro shots and our vaccination shots way better. We're way more efficient. We do everything at herd check, all of our vaccinations and repro shots, everything all at once. So we're not going back through 2 or 3 times catching cows for other shots. I think since we've started the RFID, our compliance on our repro shots and vaccinations has really improved. I don't know if we're 100%, but we're close to it. We do everything at herd check. We're not going back a second and a third time looking for cows to give shots. So it's increased our efficiency, our labor efficiency greatly.
Dairy wellness to me is just doing the right thing. because if we do the right thing by the cow, and we do the right thing by the producer, and we do the right thing by the consumer, that kind of encompasses everything that dairy wellness is about. And you know, that we can be proud as a veterinarian and as a producer and as an industry if we do those kinds of things, that we're really contributing in a positive fashion to our country.
Dairy wellness means to me is protecting our position here as farmers. We're constantly under attack from environmentalists, animal rights groups, stuff like that. And, you know, a happy cow is a healthy cow. We do what we can to make them happy around here. I mean, they get the best care in the world. We try to make their lives as boring as possible, pain-free, whatever we can do to make them comfortable, because they're going to produce for us and make us money. If our cows aren't happy, we're not making money, we're not happy.
To me, dairy wellness means that you're monitoring cows, make sure they're healthy and producing high quality and quantities of milk. Zoetis has helped us with the dairy wellness by providing information and products to follow the protocols. Our advisors and our employees have played a key role in our success here through our expansions. Our veterinarian, nutritionist, and our financial consultant have been key to success. And also our employees, we have a pretty good bunch of dedicated employees that are here every day. If they don't show up when you need them, they're not much use to you. So we have a bunch of pretty dedicated employees.
Okay, what we're going to do now is open it up for questions and answers, and we're going to have Mike and Dr. Meager come on up here, and they will answer all the questions you have. We'd ask if you do have a question, please raise your hand, and I will come out to you with the microphone so that everyone can hear your question. So we'd love to hear from you if you have questions. Just let us know.
The comment by your partner there was you guys were mixing in the use of BMR corn. Can you explain how you do that, or what the thought is behind that? Do you truly mean mixing it in, or just do you keep it separate in the bunk, or how do you manage that?
We are actually planting 4 rows. We have a 16-row planter. There's 4 of each. So we have 4 rows conventional, 4 rows BMR. Next year we're thinking of doing it separately in the field. So we'll have less cost than with BMR you have to spray a fungicide on. So we're spraying double the acres with that. So next year we feel confident enough that the BMR will stand alone now that we've tried it, that we're going to try to plant it separately next year and have 2 separate bunkers.
But still harvest it together.
Yes,
right.
Still
okay.
Harvest it together.
Okay.
What is DRM corn?
This question was, what is the BMR corn?
Brown midrib. It's more digestible, so the cows get more out of it. In the past, it was less yielding than it is today. They've done a lot with the genetics to make it better.
My question is, sack semen is more good for heifers, or it can be used for the cows too?
So far, we've only used it on heifers. Cows, there's a little harder to get pregnant. The conception isn't quite as good on cows. Some people are trying it. We haven't yet.
I guess really a two-part question. First being, what kind of year has it been for you? And I'm assuming you're going to say good. And so I would then ask, do you plan to expand? You know, as a result of the kind of year you've had, do you think you'll do some more expansion?
Yes, it has been a good year. But as far as expansion goes, the site we're on right now, we're pretty much maxed out. We don't have any further room for expansion unless the land next door comes up for sale, which it hasn't yet.
You mentioned some of the advantages of the clarified test. Have you been able to quantify what that's meant actually to your operation?
Probably so far, it's only been on heifer raising costs. You know, the last things have changed now, but for the last few years, it was costing $800 to raise a heifer, and they were worth about $14.50. So you're losing that money by selling them at birth. We've been able to take that out. We've probably been freshening heifers about 6 months that have been tested, but I can see when I get the results back, my genomic numbers are way higher than they used to be, just because we're not breeding those low-end cows and heifers.
So you think you're putting more milk in the pail from it?
I'm not sure that we are yet. Maybe, you know, we've probably got 50 to 100 heifers that have freshened. You know, how many of those would we have kept already? So it's going to take more time.
You commented on committed to using sand. I was wondering, do you separate that out, or do you haul that in the fields? And if you had to start all over again, would you do a different system?
Yes, that's been a major thing at our farm. We started separating about 8 years ago. We were probably one of the first ones, continually changing, upgrading, trying different things. We've had some issues with somatic cell count, you know, reusing the sand. I just redid my whole system this summer and have been having really good results lately. Probably the biggest thing we've learned, somehow you need to wash the sand with some, most people don't like to hear that when you're separating sand, but somehow you need to rinse it at the end before you reuse it. That's what I've found anyway.
When you're separating it, is that from settling lanes or is that a mechanical system?
We have a mechanical system.
I don't know how it works here, but in my country we give salt to the cows. It works for you, or is in the food that you use?
Did you get that?
Salt.
Salt?
Yeah.
There's some in the ration, I'm sure, whatever the requirement is, but we don't free choice any salt. It's just what's in the ration.
Really? And other minerals, like a supplement?
Yeah, that's all of that is in a mineral mix that we get mixed at the feed plant that is fed to the cows.
Okay. And how long you stay with a cow? What I mean is, what is the long life that you stay, that you have a cow is, or how many liters that you decide that the cow is not good?
Did you understand?
What is the average age of your cows?
There is not good production. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That probably changes. This year, a lot lower with the price of milk. It was profitable to keep them, So this year we're probably down to 40 pounds, 35 to 40 pound. Cow was still profitable because the price of milk was high. But if the price of milk is low and feed is high, it might be 50 pounds. You kind of have to monitor that.
What's the cull rate average for your herd?
Probably 35%, but I don't really think cull rate is a good way to judge it. If you have heifer to replace her, you're probably just gonna sell an older cow and put a heifer in, and especially when the price of heifers were low, they weren't worth anything. You just sell an older cow and put a heifer in. So cull rate's not quite what it used to be, I don't think.
What was your reasoning for breeding all your cows with Angus?
One of the reasons, or the main reason, is we had too many heifers. And with the genomic test, if we can breed, we know which animals are our better ones. We breed them the sex semen. And if you know which cows are your poorer ones, we just breed them to Angus, so we're not getting calves out of, higher genetic animals. And with the price of beef right now, a beef bull calf is worth a lot of money.
Sir, my question is about production diseases you face and infectious diseases you face on your farm.
I didn't understand. Could you repeat?
Yeah, production problems you face in animals and dairy animals on your farm, and infectious diseases like mastitis. Production problems like we have in India, milk fever. There is sudden lowering of calcium level in the blood. Will you face such type of problems in your farms?
Milk fever is a very low incidence rates on Sugar Creek Dairy. DA rates are low. Probably our biggest health challenge has been a mastitis. And that is probably a lot to do with the recycled sand, as we get that right and as we fail to get it right. And also, Mike mentioned in the video that we're a 6-row barn at 125% stocking density to stalls, so we're way overstocked to headlocks, and that puts a lot of stress on that sand and bedding. And so I would say right now our challenge to health-wise would be mastitis.
And one more question, sir. And you have hemoprotozoan problems like thaliasis and SARA in your animals in USA.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Hemoprotozoan problems like thaliasis, babesiosis, and
right, we're not having any problem that I'm aware of.
You have problems like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
What's a dry period you prefer for the good cows, like 2 months or could be 3?
No, I'm on a shorter dry period. I've been about 43 days, probably 4 or 5 years already. So it's pretty short.
What's the percentage of conception success in your farm after using the success semen, getting female cows? What is the percentage?
What is our conception rate, or what?
Yeah, conception rate.
Our conception rate is right about 40%.
With success semen?
Yes.
Yes.
Question on the removal of the brisket board. And do you have many of your stalls where you have no brisket board and as well as no neck rail?
Almost all of our stalls do not have brisket boards. We had the concrete ones in there. The stalls were too short. It wasn't comfortable. We took them all out. the cows really liked not having them there. If I had to build a whole dairy over again, I would probably have something there. The newer styled ones with the rubber, that are more comfortable for the cow. But they're really hard to put in once the cows are in there. So, and on the neck rails, everything has a neck rail.
It's obvious that you two have a very good working relationship and seem to be willing to think outside the box. What were some of the challenges in getting to that point? And then what do you do to try to maintain that line of communications and also to get it from you to actually get it to implement it to your employees so that so all these changes and what you're doing is effective?
I'll let you start.
I think it has always worked out well between Mike and myself. We're that kind of person, people, and we're really interested in the performance of ourselves and everybody else, and so we really try to do a good job and take a lot of pride in the job that we do. So that there's never been, I don't always get my way, but there's never been any tension. That isn't really my job, is to have my way. My job is to bring things to the table that Mike give some thought to it, and then he gets to decide what to do. But we constantly, as the video maybe alluded to, struggle, like most dairymen do, to keep that going down the employees, and our parlors are probably like everybody else's parlors, and the employees like to drift from their procedures, and so that's our challenge, is to keep them motivated and keep them on task and on all aspects of the dairy, but it seems like parlor is our biggest challenge.
And I guess for me, we're, like Paul said, we're alike. We're never satisfied. We're always looking to do better, whatever it is. We're always trying to do it better.
I do have a comment a little bit about the break-even. Your break-even milk production is based on how much milk you're shipping, along with some other things. And because I've made this mistake, I'll share it with the group. So if we figured out our break-even is 47 pounds of milk or whatever it might be today, and we sell cows that are less than 47 pounds of milk and some percentage of those, tomorrow our break-even will be different and it'll be higher. Tomorrow our break-even will be 57 pounds of milk, because those cows do contribute. They might be below it, but they're still contributing. And so if you watch your break, that's maybe not the best way to make a decision, would be my comment. It's just kind of like Mike's comment about the call rate. Bankers and other people traditionally used to be interested in the call rate, and at one time somebody asked me, well, what's the perfect call rate? I have 50% of my calves are heifers. They all live, they all get pregnant, and I give them all a chance, and I'm not expanding. What would my call rate be? 50%, and a lot of people would be alarmed at that kind of call rate. So for us, what we're concerned about isn't so much the numbers. Why are they leaving? Is Mike making that decision, or is the cow making that decision? That's when we are concerned about call rate. We're interested in when did they leave and why did they leave, not how many left necessarily.
Why do most of them leave?
When things are going well, they're leaving because we've got somebody better to put in their spot.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah. I would say those that are not leaving because we have somebody better to put in their spot are leaving because of mastitis.
How, on days open, when you cut them off to ship them down the road, if they're not bred back at 140 days and you're still milking, you still keep them?
Yeah, that's goes more by milk production. I don't really cut them off. If they're milking 100, they can milk 100 pounds for 400 days. I'll keep breeding them. If they're not fat, if they start getting fat, then you got to cut that way back. So I don't really have a magic cutoff point where I just say this too many days we're going to quit.
A couple of years ago, I recall you had farm tech days on your farm. Did that present any unforeseen production challenges for you at all?
I guess I better be honest, yes. The hay had to be harvested at the show time, not when it was ready. So yes, it did cause some challenges.
I guess I don't know what you do with your cull cows. I don't think they all go to slaughter, do they?
They do now, since I've been using the clarified, because I don't have extra heifers. I used to sell some fresh heifers, but I don't have extra anymore.
Okay, so when the cow is done her productive cycle, she goes to slaughter.
Yes.
Do you buy any dry hay, dry feed?
No, we don't feed any baled hay.
I notice your barns are pretty open for harsh winters. What do you change from summer to winter as far as your building, housing building?
Just close the doors and crank up the curtains. That's about all you can do. Last winter wasn't very fun.
What's the temperature in your barn when it's 50 below wild?
20 below.
One question back on the BMR again. When did you start using BMR hybrids, and did you see a production gain, or could you say that? I was just curious.
Last year was the first year we experimented with it. We just planted maybe 25% of it that way. We just wanted to try it. I think we saw a response, but we had a short time in there that we fed it. I think maybe the bigger thing is less purchase feed. You know, it's more digestible, so you don't have to purchase other things to supplement it. You can feed a higher forage diet.
What's the yield difference between the BMR corn and conventional corn?
We had it mixed, so we really had no way to tell, but we had really good yields on it, so I would say not a lot. Next year, if we do some of each, we'll have a better handle on that, but where we had it mixed, we couldn't really, if we didn't have it in there, would we have had higher yields? I don't know that.
Although animals are high yield, what's the best thing you do to dry them up? In my country, like I personally have animals giving 40 liters a day, which we call a maximum. But when it comes to dry, it's 10 liters under it. It's really hard to take the milk to dry. So what do you guys do? Just stop feeding them feed?
We dry off cows once a week. So every Wednesday, cows that are due to dry off, we just milk them one last time, dry treat them. Our dry cows actually have to go to a different farm. So we have to load them on a trailer and move them, and change their diet, so they dry up pretty easy on their own.
Any other questions anybody has, or we can wrap things up? No? Well, why don't we give Mike and Dr. Meager a round of applause. So thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. And if you have any other questions on Clarified or anything else, you can visit the Zoetis booth and enjoy your time at Expo. Thanks again.